guys, welcome to another episode of Remember Them, presented by the Project We Are Free Foundation. I'm your host, Dr. Tamika A. Anderson, and I am a survivor of 20 years of domestic violence and abuse. I am on a mission to help you know the red flags of domestic violence and abuse and how to escape a potentially deadly relationship by sharing my personal experiences and real-life cases of women who have been affected by domestic violence and abuse. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the tragic case of Angela Bledsoe. It's not for me to decide the fate of the accused. It's up to the law. But in these stories, I will not reference the perpetrators by name. The accused will be referred to as the abuser. Hopefully, in each one of these cases, justice will prevail. We're going to take a look into the life of another woman who has been affected by domestic violence and abuse. Angela Bledsoe was a 44-year-old mom, sister, friend, successful businesswoman, and soror. Angela was described as an awesome, beautiful, intelligent, and fantastic person. She was a great mother, and she was a loving, caring, and trusted friend. Angela owned her own home in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, but she had recently moved into her abuser's home where she was raising their 6-year-old daughter in the Montclair, New Jersey home where she was tragically murdered. The police went to Angela's home after receiving a call to do a welfare check, and a blood trail was found leading from the living room to the kitchen. They found Angela on the kitchen floor with multiple gunshot wounds. She was shot 4 times, once in the jaw and 3 times in the back. Nearby, they found a handgun and gun cleaning supplies on the living room table. 4 .45 caliber shell casings and a 9mm handgun were also found. The .45 caliber handgun was not located. Angela was pronounced dead at her home where she lived with her abuser, who was also the father of her child. Police found Angela in the early morning on Tuesday, October 23, 2018, but Angela's abuser was not home at the time police arrived. Police speculate that Angela's abuser and suspected murderer called his brother after he shot Angela several times, and it was his brother who notified police. After murdering Angela, he called his brother and asked him to meet him at a nearby restaurant. When they arrived, he asked his brother if he could keep his daughter for a week. The brother described him as being anxious and fidgety. In 2013 court documents, it stated that Angela's abuser had been sued for sexual harassment by a paralegal who worked for him. The woman filed a complaint and said that Angela's abuser talked to her at length about pornography and told her that he was a polygamist and intended to make her his 3rd wife. This case was settled for $35,000. He was also involved in a high-profile case that involved a well-known female rapper whose brother had been accused of raping his 11-year-old stepdaughter. He said he'd been hired as the attorney by the victim's mother to represent their case. When Angela's abuser called the defendant's attorney, he demanded $25 million to resolve the case. When he was told that the defendant didn't have that kind of money, the abuser asked about the defendant's sister, who was a well-known rap star, who had the money. The defense attorneys quickly described his behavior and this hostile demand as extortion, and he blames this accusation of extortion as the reason why the victim's mother fired him, because she didn't like his strategy. In spite of Angela's own successful career, in 2013, she was working in her abuser's Park Avenue office. One neighbor stated that she tried to have a conversation with Angela on the sidewalk near their house because their daughters knew one another from dance school. But Angela seemed like she intentionally did not want to talk. The woman said it left a weird impression on her. When the police asked the woman if she thought Angela may have been scared, she said that Angela may have been scared now that she was thinking about it, because just the way Angela was acting was not normal. Neighbors reported that the couple didn't socialize much in the community, and this is something we're going to discuss in the follow-up video to talk about some of the signs and red flags of domestic violence and abuse, because this is a huge red flag. According to transcriptions of calls placed to dispatchers, officers from the Montclair Police Department visited Angela's abuser's house several times between 2013 and 2016. An officer wanted call was placed on June 26, 2016 at 2:30 p.m. And this was the only notations on the document are the words, "Female, blue Mitsubishi, keep peace while she gathers her belongings." It is unclear if the woman was Angela, because in a 2013 deposition related to the sexual harassment suit, Angela's abuser stated he was married at that time to a woman with whom he had 2 children, and that they would soon be celebrating their 25th anniversary. He and Angela were not married, and it isn't clear how long she lived with her abuser or if she even knew about his other life. Incident reports dated 3 years earlier contain significantly more notations. On March 8, 2013, report of a 911 call says, a female companion named Angela Bledsoe called the New York Police Department about receiving a strange text and text messages from her abuser. In the report, Angela is quoted as saying that her friend had sent her a suicidal note via text about 7:30 p.m. that gave instructions on his life insurance policies and accounts. Angela directed the NYPD to her abuser's law office, which at the time was on Park Avenue, saying that the doorman would direct them to his office. The NYPD called the Montclair police that evening at 10 o'clock p.m. They described Angela's abuser in the report as a 50-year-old suicidal black male with glasses, 5'9" and 200 pounds, wearing a blue and white striped shirt. The report states that when Montclair officers arrived at the North Mountain Avenue residence, no one was home, and there were no cars in the driveway, but foot tracks were noted. It appears that the Montclair police also checked for Angela's abuser that evening at a lounge, bar, and jazz venue, which he visited several times a week, according to the owner, who counts himself as a good friend of Angela's abuser. A notation on the police report reads, "Neg on the lounge," meaning he wasn't there when police searched the lounge. A Montclair report dated the following day classified Angela's abuser as a missing person and stated they were looking for the abuser, but there are no further reports on the incident. There was one other report of a 911 call and hang-up with the caller listed as Angela's abuser, registered by the Montclair police on February 3, 2016, 4 months before they were summoned to the house to the Keep Peace while a female packed her belongings call. The police called back twice, and when they didn't get a response, they went to the house, which they reported appears empty. A friend of Angela's said that he didn't know that Angela was in a relationship. He knew that she had a daughter and biologically the child came from somewhere, but many people were not aware that she lived with the father of her child. Many of her friends said that she didn't show any signs of any relationship problems, and many of her friends were shocked when they found out about Angela's murder. They didn't know she was being abused, and they described Angela as a person who would never, allow abuse or take abuse from anyone. She was described as a no-nonsense kind of person in business, yet friendly when it came to other matters. After murdering Angela and dropping off their 6-year-old daughter with his brother, Angela's abuser headed to Mexico and then hopped a plane to Cuba, where he was detained at customs by Cuban authorities on October 28th. He was returned to New Jersey on November 6, 2018. After Angela's abuser was captured, documents revealed that he confessed to her murder in a note that he left in a suitcase of the 6-year-old daughter, and mentioned that he suspected Angela was having an affair. Angela's abuser was charged with murder in her fatal shooting. He appeared before a Superior Court judge for a detention hearing in Newark on Monday, November 26, 2018. If convicted of murder, Angela's abuser faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 30 years in prison without parole. Abuse is never okay. If you or someone you know is being abused, please contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. Again, that's 1-800-799-SAFE. Be sure to like this video and respectfully chime in on this conversation by leaving your comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell if you'd like to join us for the next conversation as we identify the red flags and also get my commentary on this case. And remember, put a purple heart in the comments section to remember the lives lost to domestic violence and abuse. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, and visit projectwearefree.org for free resources and materials.